Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Gina, the Chameleon Girl, and I was just cooking, so I was not all fixed up or whatever, so please excuse me that I don't have on any makeup and stuff. But what I wanted to do today was show you all how to cook an easy, and I think this is about the easiest peach cobbler recipe that I know of. And so this is going to be more like a tips and trick because I think most people know how to cook peach cobbler, but this is going to be my way of cooking peach cobbler. And so what you're going to need is, depending on the size of your dish, which I'm going to use a, let me see, it doesn't say, but this should be probably an 8 by 13 dish. In case it runs over the juices from the pie. Now, the very first ingredient, of course, is going to be your peaches. I like to get the Del Monte. You can get the store brand, but this is just what I get. Sliced peaches, not halves or anything, because if you get the halves, you're going to have to slice them yourself, and it's going to be a pain in your butt, for real. And the clinging peaches in heavy syrup. Okay, I like the ones in heavy syrup because then that way I'm not having to thicken my sauce or anything like that. So the first thing that you do is you get 2 cans of this, depending on the size of your pan that you're going to use. But anything that's going to be about this size, which I believe this is 8 by 13, you're going to want 2 cans. And then you're going to need probably, we're going to say 3/4 of a stick of butter. And so anyway, I've already added my butter here. I had some Land O'Lakes that was on sale. So I kind of like take and put it into this is the way I see my mom always do it. So of course, you know, hers was bomb and I want mine to be. So you take it and you put it into a saucepan or a pan big enough to hold this. I just decided to use this Copper Chef because if you've seen any of my cooking videos, then you'll know that I love the Copper Chef because it's a non-stick pan and you don't want yourself scorched. So you pour the 2 cans of peaches in there, and then you add some butter to it. So you want to not just add, like, cut off the 3/4 of it. You want to chop it so that it kind of comes out to where it'll melt a little easier. Because this is a fast peach cobbler. This is not something that you're going to need an hour to prep and then 45 minutes. It's not like that. Okay, and so you just kind of give it a little stir, let that butter melt. On medium-high heat is what I like to do. And then I like to put a lot of cinnamon in there. And when I'm talking about a lot of cinnamon, I'm talking about quite a bit. Maybe even a tablespoon of cinnamon. So I'm going to do that. And I've kind of been cooking for a long time, so like I'm going to freehand this by making a little pile that will equal, that's a tablespoon, okay? So I think I want even more in mine. So I'm going to put, that's about a tablespoon and a half, okay? And then you can use any spice that you like, by the way, when you're making peach cobbler. Even if you want to use ginger, if you want to use nutmeg, whatever your spices are, that's your favorite combination of the different, you know, spices, dessert spices, then that's fine. And then so today I'm going to add a little nutmeg as well, but I'm just going to kind of go light on there to where it's maybe, that's maybe a teaspoon of nutmeg. So I already have that in there. Some people like to add brown sugar, but this is really just a simple recipe, and you should have probably all these ingredients, and you can skip the nutmeg if you so choose, but I like it just, it gives just a little bit more spice, and sometimes I don't have nutmeg, so I don't add it. So then we're gonna start with about a cup of sugar. That's a cup, okay? And so then I want another 1/4. So that's a 1/4, okay? And then what I will do is just go ahead and grab a spoon, and I'll begin to just kind of stir everything together. And another thing, you know, I don't think that you could have too much cinnamon in it. And like when I just look at this, when I eyeball it, it's just not enough cinnamon to me. So I'm going back in, I'm going to add some cinnamon. So what you will want to keep on the side is a spoon to be able to taste it. And you can use, the thing about this recipe that I'm showing you guys is that it's just kind of like, use what is comfortable for you. If you want to use a whole stick of butter, that is fine. I wouldn't go over a whole stick, not for this amount, unless I was making one of those big pans that you would buy at the store or something like that. Then I would do it that way. But in the meantime, I'm just going to kind of start stirring that. And what I want to happen is I want it to come to a boil, because see that juice is pretty watery. But we're going to be thickening that up. And the way that we thicken it is with the flour that is going to be on your pie crust. Now I like to get the Pillsbury pie crust that you roll out. The reason why I like to get this is because it does taste better than the store brand to me. And that's me, and that's my opinion. But you can use the store brand. So you want to have a clean spoon available so that you'll be able to taste it and see how is the sugar level. You know, is it enough sugar or what? I'm not putting this in there so that the peaches will get softer or anything. The only thing that I'm doing is putting it in there so that all these flavors and stuff, they get married. That's already thickening because I have it at a higher heat, which is medium high, okay? So I will give that a little taste. Let me give it a good stir. And I'll probably get burnt sometime here or there. Okay, so anyway, let me give it a little taste and see if it's spicy enough for me and if it has enough sugar and butter. So let me do that, and then I could tell you how much more I would add. I think it's almost perfect. It could just use a little bit more spice. So instead of pouring it in there that way, I'm just gonna kind of sprinkle over. And I'm going to sprinkle definitely some more cinnamon. So now I'm up to where I may have used nearly 3 tablespoons, not teaspoons, of cinnamon. This is a very fast and easy recipe that you could do, you know, just do like a weeknight or something. Not necessarily have to wait for a Sunday dinner. Another thing that I felt when I tasted it is that it could withstand a little more butter. So I'm going to go ahead and pop in a little bit more butter in there. So I'm going to almost use this whole stick, but instead of just throwing it in there, I want it to melt faster. Because see, your butter is what is going to give you the beautiful brown crust that you're looking for. You want that crust to be brown and flaky. Your butter is just going to make that happen. So I put it in there. And then it's at roaring boil, which is a good thing. So it can kind of get thicker, and I'm going to show you guys now the consistency. See, it's just kind of thickening up as you go. The longer you cook it, the thicker it'll become. But you have to keep in mind when making peach cobbler, it's also going to thicken in the oven as well. So right now I'm going to put that, I'm going to turn that off. And I want to share with you guys, there's a couple things that you can do if your heart desires it. The first thing that you do is take foil. And you want a decent amount. Cover the counter. Cover the counter. And then you want to take some all-purpose flour. It does not have to be anything special. Just whatever kind of flour that you want to use in your recipe. And this is where you're going to be thickening it. That's why I'm putting a little bit more than what I would typically need. You see how much I'm kind of using? So we're going to say that's about a half a cup of flour that I just poured onto the onto that surface. And then I will just pop open these little roll out Pillsbury crust. When you see recipes that call for certain ingredients that you may or you may not have, because I really don't think I have any vanilla extract and I would love it if I did, what you do is you learn to improvise. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and we're going to improvise because I don't believe I have any vanilla extract. I'm going to take just a little piece of a freshly washed lemon, just like that end right there. I may use a little bit more. And what I will do is squeeze. I want that to be about maybe a half of a teaspoon of lemon into that, okay? Because guys, what I'm really getting at is this. You know, there of course was a time when there was slavery and things like that going on. We all know about it. How do you think that those people back in the slavery days, our ancestors, was making these delicious meals that make you want to go back for second, thirds, and fourths? They improvised. They didn't have all this fancy seasonings and stuff. You know, a lot of their stuff they grew or they did whatever. So what I'm saying is, like, when you see these recipes, especially on YouTube online or Facebook, wherever you see these recipes, if you don't have every ingredient, don't be discouraged by the recipe and say, oh, I'm not going to make this particular thing because I don't have every ingredient. Learn to improvise, okay? So lemon gives the peach cobbler a good flavor anyway, and that's me saying that. I don't think, did I add any more sugar? Or I'm gonna grab another spoon just so y'all know it's not the same spoon that I used before, but if it was, it's my, you know, my family, and I guess they understand I don't have cooties. So anyway, let me taste that. You like peach cobbler, Leah? Mm-hmm. I think that's good. It could use a taste of more sugar. A little bit more sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that sauce is already thick. Then sugar thickens things anyway. So I'm gonna put another, that's about 1/4 more of sugar into the peach cobbler. So you want to give that a nice stir, and I'm going to kind of turn it back up so that sugar really melts. And then I'm going to bust open the pie crust. And you want these pie crusts to be about room temperature, because when they are not room temperature, what tends to happen with them, if you take them straight out of the refrigerator and just go to use them, a lot of time they'll be crumbly, or, you know, they'll kind of come apart. You don't want them real soft. So, you know, I'm talking about room temperature, a half an hour, or pop them in the microwave, but the whole pack for about 20 seconds. And that's what I had to do because I forgot to leave mine out. So anyway, I'm just gonna unroll this slowly. Just kind of take your time. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put that on the flour. So then the next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to grab a knife, and then I'm going to, well, I don't even know what to put, like crisscross cut this, but I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that. Okay, so you want to use a sharp knife. You don't want to use one with the rigged edges. Just, that's what I'm suggesting, okay? So I like to cut off each end of this. Not on that end too, just each end. About that much, right? And I should have done more. And then I like to take the end of it, and I just like to put it and stick it to the side, on each side. This side is little. This ain't big enough really, but I'm still gonna do it because not everything is about perfection or whatever. It's still going to come out tasting good. And if my mother, who is 85 years old, feels that it tastes okay, believe me, it's okay. You know, elderly people, they'll let you know. Now, as far as cobbler is concerned, another thing that I wanted to explain to you guys. Some people like a bottom crust because they like the dough. I like just only a top crust. And the reason why I only like a top crust is because I'm just looking for the crispiness. I don't like a doughy cobbler. But if you like a doughy cobbler, what you could do in this case is take one of these, lay it in the bottom. This is how I would do it for somebody, because there are people like my stepson, and he loves my peach cobbler to be a little more doughy. So I take and I put my bottom crust, put it on the bottom, stick it in the oven, and let it cook for about 20 minutes at a higher temperature so that it gets a little crisp to it, because then it's not overly like gunky doughy. But anyway, I don't like the bottom crust at all, so that's not what I'm going to do today. But that is just an option. There's a lot of options with this recipe. So the next thing we're going to do is, now that I got this sweet to my family's taste, and see, that's already thickening. See that? How thick that's already gotten? That's between the sugar and the heat, okay? So I'm going to take and I'm going to move this over here. Everything is this heavy. Okay. So I'm going to take and I'm going to pour that down in the pan. Okay. So, and if you don't like a lot of peaches, then this is, like I said, there's so many options with this recipe that is really not even funny. You know, you could do whatever you like, okay? So if you like less peaches, then you use less peaches, okay? So just kind of put that in there, and then you begin to cut this. This is more than a ½ inch. I would have said a ½ inch, but it's not. Okay, so you just want to cut it however thick you like your, I think it's called like lattice or whatever it's called. Sometimes when I'm really lazy, guys, what I do is I just unroll it and I just lay it right on top of it. Then I cut 2 ends to cover the entire pie, punch holes in it, and it comes out pretty that way too. But I'm just doing this for whatever reason. And then if you do it that way, you know, you lay the whole thing on there, then you get more crust. So, you know, that's something to consider. If you like that crispy butteriness, so you just start laying that on there. We're not looking for perfection, okay? We're just looking for a good peach cobbler. I think you all will enjoy this recipe. So, see how much flour is on the back of there? Well, I want that. That's why I poured so much. And that's what I wanted to explain to you all as well. I want that on there because I want it to kind of help with the thickening of it. So then I'm going to kind of move these to the side because I want those longer pieces to go vertically. Okay, so then you get the next roll and bust that open. See, it's so pliable. That's the word I was looking for. You want it to be pliable like that. Because if you do this straight out of your refrigerator, then it's not going to be as easy to work with. So see, I don't have that much flour left because now I don't want to have a lot of flour because I have enough, you know, on there for it to be like the thickening purpose of it. I'm just gonna lay that down. Now, what I'm going to do, because I don't need the ends anymore, like before, remember I cut off both of the ends and then I laid them on there, which this side is too short, should drive me crazy. I'm going to try my best to just gently, but I want this to be shaped into a square instead of rounded. Let's see, I need these to be into a square. So I'm going to do like, cut like here. I'm going this way this time. But, and have your oven set to 400 degrees, at least 375. So if you just, you know, kind of want it to cook a little slower, or you don't want it to cook on 400 because you know you better watch your pie or you're going to have some burnt pie, then, you know, put it at 375. You could put it on 350. That's what I said. There's kind of, this is the, you know how they say there's no rules to makeup? Well, there's no rules to this recipe. There's just none. Just do as you please. And this piece is thick. Right here, so I'm going to go over this one. That got a little long. Okay, so then anyway, we're just going to finish up putting these pieces. We're going to try and get them pretty close together. So then we're going to start popping this on here. We want these close together because, see, we want the crust on there to be delicious. And they're crusty. Some longer pieces. Oh, I broke one. Darn it. It doesn't matter because I have enough. This is kind of longer. So then what I like to do with, if I got a piece that is longer, I try to make a way to just have one. And then I just press that up on the side. Because ain't nothing like that buttery crust for the peach cobbler. I'm talking about nothing, baby. Nothing at all. we're almost done with the recipe. One more over here. Perfectly imperfect, okay? How we want that. We're gonna use that piece. We utilize everything, just like our ancestors did. Remember when they used to dig at the chitlins out of the trash can? Well, you know, I know, and that's sad. That's sad. You know, something that used to be thrown all in the trash and stuff. But that's what they did, because the people would throw them in the trash can. They didn't want them to have a pig foot, chitlin, nothing. Like, you don't get nothing. Just figure it out. Like, that's so dirty. But it's whatever, you know what I mean? Because it ain't like that now. I know it makes some people upset that it's not like that now, but live what you want, where you want, drive what you want, go to college how you want, get your education. The world is semi more fair, if you guys get it. Well, I'm getting it. I'm gonna use every piece of this crust. I don't care if I broke it or what, okay? Okay. So then the last thing that I like to do, just to make it come out even more pretty, is I take and I sprinkle me some cinnamon on top of there. Not perfectly, nothing perfect here. That's just what I do. Give the crust the buttery cinnamon flavor. And then I pop it in an oven, but y'all can't see inside my oven because I didn't clean it today for this recipe. Wasn't even gonna do it. So this is about how your peach cobbler should look. Where it's moving, it's kind of wet. And you're gonna put this in the oven and you are going to bake it for however long you want, depending on your temperature. If you bake it on 350, bake it for, at the very minimum, an hour. If you do the bottom crust, do it for an hour and 15 minutes at 350. Mine, as you guys can see, is set to 400. So I'm gonna bake mine, oh, I got this flour everywhere. I'm gonna bake mine for 45 to 50 minutes. Just till it gets pretty and brown, and then I'm gonna come back and show you guys the final outcome. And with that being said, stick around. Everybody, welcome back. We are now done with the peach cobbler, and I just wanted to show you guys how beautiful it came out. And this is my dessert. Some peach cobbler. And I'm gonna dig in, even though I shouldn't dig into it before, but I want to show you guys kind of like the consistency of it. Just get that little piece right there. Like I said, I'm the crust type of a peach cobbler person. I'm not the dough peach cobbler person, but I did give you guys instructions on being able to make it more doughy, and then I just take a little bit of that sauce. I just kind of pour that on there. And then I just get me a spoon. And I'm gonna taste it and see how it came out. So flaky, the crust. This is really good. So that's the recipe for the easiest peach cobbler. In the meantime, like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe my channel. I have an upcoming fashion haul for jeans that are for plus size women and ordering guidelines so that you can have the perfect fit to your jeans. So look for that video. In the meantime, God bless and enjoy the rest of your night.